the Roomba 5. I am your host Jimmy, and I will momentarily be hooked up to our two partners, Mina and me. He's currently trying to get the TV on. It's just kind of hard sometimes, so just give me a minute. I'll be right there with you guys. So, as the title suggests, I am in the French land. French land is a pretty cool place, not gonna lie. Fairly chill. So I'm gonna go in here and just go. So, oh wait, it's everything's loading in. Ah, actually, you know, this. Good afternoon, you two.
Good afternoon.
I'm currently taking care of some stuff. It seems that our avatars decided today not to work. So
Alright, so
it is working.
Jimmy,
right.
I've got the stream open, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but right off the bat, you sound very, very quiet both on the stream and on Discord.
Okay, that's because I'm not on my usual microphone. I'm using another set of headphones, which I guess are quieter, and I am at my maximum volume on both. So
That sounds better now, though, so
Okay.
there is that.
okay, maybe it's because I was just very much talking chillax mode, just
Maybe.
talking soothing. But yeah, so as I started speaking on the stream, I'm in
Anyway,
France. I'm in the land of the baguette.
Oh, oui, baguette.
I am on the land of the baguette as a family vacation. Just a vacay with the fam.
That's the thing the Europeans can do, casually jaunt over to the next country.
Yep. Kick the
And again, that's like, pretty sure the distance from like the south of Spain to like Paris is like less than the distance from the south of California to the north of California.
It's not the south of Spain. We're in the east of Spain. It was an 8-hour trip.
I'm more like comparing like for overall size comparison between Europe and
Fair enough.
America. I mean, to be fair, California is one of the bigger states, but it's about as tall as Italy.
Yep. It's a tall. It's a tall. It's a very tall state, I guess. So, as I said, let's just start where am I now? I'm in a little town of France, and we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like our house is like in the middle of the house plaza, in the town plaza, aka the Place de la République, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. Ita Mina! Hello, Mina! Alright, let's see. Is everyone on the screen? Yes, we are. Okay.
So today was a very interesting week.
How so?
Well, many things occurred.
I
We
mean,
have many things to talk about.
true, we do have a lot in the idea box today to talk about, surprisingly. But yeah, I just wanted to, you know, chat a little moment, just have everyone know what the fuck's going on, why my microphone's quieter than usual. So,
yes, France. Have you seen anything cool in France before you move beyond France?
I mean, we've gone to France before, so it's like today's like second day, and it's also a Sunday, so nothing's really open.
See.
So, what do we want to start talking about?
Well, there was the Pokemon Presents, wasn't there? We can start with that.
True. Good start with that. Sorry, Mina.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, now there's gonna be like now we'll be able eventually with updates. We'll be able to transfer other starters to Gen 9.
Okay.
Also, the new DLC is good. It's very good. I do really like how it's looking up. I'm genuinely very fucking excited for that game, for the DLC. I have to wait probably to buy it alongside the other DLC, but for now we get a selfie stick. Whoa!
It really says something about how much people really like the play pretend dress up stuff in these games. Where one of the most hype features is a selfie stick that lets you take your screenshots from slightly farther away.
Oh, that's just me because it's funny. I find it really funny that we get a selfie stick, and it was one of the things Mark is like, "Here's a new thing, the Roto stick." I'm like, I was laughing at the sense
You
of
called
it.
it the Roto stick?
Yes, you know, because it's a selfie stick for your Roto phone.
Just call it a selfie stick. I'm pretty sure that's not even a trademarked name.
You can also make your Pokemon stop in place, so you can take easier pictures later on, which is amazing. I can finally take pictures of my actual Pokemon, not of wild Pokemon.
Do you know how hard it is to get your Pokemon to fucking pose for a photo?
I know. Yes, I do.
It's just like real dogs.
Why do you What do you think I eventually just
manipulate with a tree?
I just eventually take pictures of wild Pokemon who them I catch. The big brain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then there was also with the Pokemon Presents the DLC announcement and blah 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 all that. I know we had a interesting discussion involving the new Paradox forms.
I'm just like so disappointed because again, the past Paradox Pokemon are a letdown. I'm sorry, that's just how it is.
It's another one of the legendary beasts, it's Raikou this time.
Yes.
Which I stand by, makes absolutely no sense. The legendary beasts are maybe like 300 years old.
Yes.
It's a Wiglet situation. It's convergent evolution.
It's not even evolution, because remember the legendary beasts were created.
I know. I'm making a joke.
Meep is angry about it, and you know what? I totally fucking agree because
it doesn't work, especially now that he's a giraffe.
Yeah.
Suicune's
being a raptor is still weird.
It's weird that it's a raptor now. Like I feel like they could have made it loosely based on Suicune and not just Suicune with lizard features.
True. You know what?
And now the thing is, you know for a fact, they're gonna announce what the hell they've done with Entei before too long.
Better not touch Entei. I know they are.
Yes, they are, and I'm so angry about it. Entei is like the best one of the three IMO. It's my favorite, especially because of the movie.
Oh right, Entei started a movie all by itself, didn't it?
Yes,
with
Power
Unknown.
of the Unknown, which is an absolute fucking banger of a song.
I forgot there was an entire movie dedicated to Unknown.
Yes, which you know what, kinda based because the Unknown, like the Unknown are like weak as hell, but like at the same time, it's so cool. It's like, oh yeah, hey, hold on. Speaking of, I think Mina just said it. The starter thing. I just saw this from the Pokemon, the official Pokemon DLC, the Twitter account. I am so excited to actually get sniping in the game. That would actually be so cool.
Mugleaf.
Okay, VX doesn't work, FX will.
The other things we have that was from that is they're apparently bringing back the trading card game video game.
Yes, they brought it back to NSO, and also there's an anime.
Okay.
I started playing the trading card game again. I've played it before on Reasons, or on Methods. But yeah, the trading card game is just a great introduction if you don't know how the trading card game already works, because it's been too long and you're too scared to ask at this point.
Also, you've never played in your life the Pokemon trading card game, even though you have a shitload of cards. Hi, that's me.
I think that's the same person.
The one last thing before we move on from the Pokemon Presents is, I know Kane's not here, but we had a discussion with Kane regarding the Paradox Pokemon and went off on a bit of an argument with him.
Yes, because he's the most stubborn person I've known in my life.
But you know what? He's a man with his own opinions, and that is respectable.
But like 90% of his opinions are wrong.
Well, no, they're opinions, and we just have we a lot of times agree though that most of Kane's opinions are bad.
Yes.
However, he has the right to have those opinions. The specific one we had was Kane believes that the future Paradox Pokemon are lazy and repetitive because they're all robots.
Meanwhile, past Paradox Pokemon are all bearded dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, they're all robots. It's like the feature. That's they have
the whole
a theme.
point.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point of future Paradox Pokemon
Robots
is
are
that they're
cool.
robots, because 90% of movies and media that is set in the future is one of three things: AI, robots, and superpowers.
I'm
You
pretty
cannot
sure the
tell me
AI and the
otherwise.
robots can be lumped together.
True.
It's either AI and robots, usually Apocalypse, either
Yeah.
something with superpowers, or it's you're in space with spaceships doing space battles,
Apocalypse.
except they're styled after World War II.
Which also
some
have, what's it called? Fucking robots in them.
Actually, usually it's not too big a deal.
The
bigger
first thing I
focus.
think is Data from the, I think it's called
From
Data?
Star Trek.
Yeah, from Star Trek.
The Next Generation.
Yes.
The other thing though, Jimmy, is Data's like the only robot in Star Trek.
I know.
It's like Data and like the collection of not Datas.
The clone Datas.
Of course.
The Data clones.
I know. I mean, robots are a big thing in some sci-fi. It's fairly big in the prequel era of Star Wars, and it's a really big thing in Battlestar Galactica. But even then, that only like half counts.
Also, wouldn't Transformers technically be like sentient robots?
Transformers is actually a weird one because that depends on what version of the lore you're looking at.
Oh
Version
boy.
of the lore. I know they come from a separate planet and they just exist there as biological robots.
So in the Generation 1 cartoon,
G1.
yeah, in the G1 cartoon, specifically the cartoon, because it's different in the comic. In the G1 cartoon, they are just robots who are sentient. It's
Okay.
not very much more complicated than that. However, in most other forms of the franchise, they are simply robots that are alive as opposed to a live robot. They are just mechanical life forms as opposed to robots that are sentient.
Yes, that
A
makes sense.
nuanced difference. It's complicated to explain because it's like really weird kind of thing. It's the easiest way to like kind of think of it is they are life forms that just so happen to be robotic in appearance and a lot of function. However, in some continuities, they have their own robots that are just like normal
Minicons.
robots, or that they're like, I think they're generally just called drones. That it's their robots. They might have some level of basic AI to
Is
them,
that what's happening?
but they're very
Exactly.
much just beat boop, as opposed to full like robotic life forms in the vein of the proper Cybertronians. Anyway, now that that tangent's off and been on, e-bikes.
You had a rant for that?
Less of a rant per se. More something came to my attention related to e-bikes that I wanted to talk about a bit. and also just e-bikes in general, because you know e-bikes are a kind of cool thing. Let's be real. It's a practical-ish
Mode of transportation.
solution to make bike better for like people who want to like use it to just get around, as opposed to like use it for like a exercise or a
Yes.
novelty item. Because if you want to like use it to like actually get to work, it's very nice. Both for it lets you go faster and makes it so getting over like hills and things isn't as annoying. But the thing with it is that prompted me to put it in there is apparently the state of California wants to join the club that apparently some other places have of requiring a license to ride e-bikes on public roads and stuff.
You know what? Fair enough. Sounds good to me.
And
That and fucking
to be
scooters that can
to
go
be
for
fair,
50 miles an hour. Not 50 miles, 50 kilometers an hour.
I don't know. It depends on the e-bike, but the thing is though, it's very like basically it's like it basically only applies like teenagers, because the way the laws are worded, if you have like a driver's license for a car, it counts.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. And like, you know what? Fair enough. And the whole reason they're doing that is because one, they go faster, which means we've got the E equals MC squared equation coming in here. It goes faster, which means if they hit something, they hit it with more force, and they weigh more. So if they hit something, it hits it with more force.
Yes.
Meaning if you run into someone on an e-bike, you're much more likely to seriously injure them than if you were on a normal bike.
Yes, that makes total sense. Yes, do that, please, for the love of God.
But at the same time, there's some dumb things that go on. Like, you know, I don't know if it's a thing in Spain, but in Spain, do you have like in some cities those like rental electric scooter things?
My mom broke her arm because of an electric scooter.
What is it for rent? Like, is available to the public?
Like,
You
like
just
a
gotta
ride
put
share
coin in.
thing,
I think I know
like a
there's
bike share but for scooters.
probably, but I'm not really sure. I know for a fact there's bike rentals because my sister works there.
Well, rentals
See,
are different.
The scooters we're talking about are just found on the sidewalk, and you have to use an app. I think funded by the city. Yeah.
We have that, but for bikes.
Yeah,
And
there are those things that are like with bikes in the US too, but in a lot of places there's scooters, which are generally, it's a private company that's done this, and they've either just gotten permission to operate from the city, or maybe the city's offered them some stuff, but generally it's just fully private in the US because we privatize everything here.
Yes.
And apparently there are some cities that are trying to like ban them for being too dangerous. But it's perfectly fine to drive a pickup truck with a worse forward visibility than a tank. That's safe.
The biggest factor about them being dangerous, I found though, is just people leaving them on the curb.
It's either people just leaving them in dumb spots, or people riding them and not paying attention and running into things. The one other thing I have seen is apparently in the city I work at, I heard someone talking about it because we got these. The companies put them in a really dumb way. Like, they told the Department of Transportation that they were putting them in like the day before. And the other thing is that they had to then tell them after like the first week, guys, you have to make them go slower. We have a speed limit on these kind of things. At 12 miles an hour, you're having them go 20. So they had to like go in and to all of them and limit their top speeds, but you know. The way I see it though, for a lot of these like bike share and like scooter share things, like 9 times out of 10, it seems like a thing that's more targeted towards like tourists than residents. I mean, so if you're gonna use like one of those things to like go around on a regular basis, just buy an electric scooter.
Yeah.
Or just buy a bicycle.
Just buy a bike because fuck electric scooters.
She used to use them quite often when they would take an Uber to the main city from our university, and then she and our friend, they would both hop on the same bike and they would go off. And this is before she was allowed to bring her car to campus.
Hmm.
So that was their main form of transportation.
Okay, fair enough. I guess college students also work, but like at the same time, it's not like an electric scooter takes up that much space once you fold it up. I mean, this is one of those things where like that's a great idea, and I definitely see there's some use for it, but like
People
At
are
the same time.
not responsible enough for anything.
true. That's the other thing. I think it was like I saw in like an Australian city. They had set up like one of the bike share companies that set up there, and they very quickly realized they had to invest in a boat with a big magnet on it because people kept throwing the bikes into the river.
What? Why?
I don't know why. They just did. It's like I think it was like a full like eighth of their bikes they had to recover from the river
Bruh.
regularly. Like why? Why?
Yeah. Why?
Most of us.
Alright, what's next in the idea?
But yeah, to wrap up e-bikes, I feel like that's something, especially if I end up living in a city that has good bike stuff, which I want to do. Probably either buying myself an e-bike or finding something to upgrade my current bike to an e-bike. Because I know there's things you can do like upgrade your bike.
So, what do we want to talk about now?
Well, there's some more stuff I put in there.
Oh yeah,
There-
me complaining about you guys having weird fucking food.
Ah,
For context, Mina and I were doing D&D the other day, and I think it was Ryu as well, and we were talking about food because Ryu wanted to order something, and then they talk about mac and cheese burger, and they just left me in awe. Just for context.
Yeah, the mac and cheese burger from the fucking Cheesecake
Yeah,
Factory.
fake Cheesecake Factory. I'm like, how do you guys come up with food over food over food? Like you guys
it's
put
America.
fried eggs on your hamburgers and call that a dish.
Fair. That is also just a thing in France. A croque madame.
Jimmy, you're calling America having weird food out, but you're in France.
True. You know what? True. France also has weird fucking food, but I'm not.
Escargot.
Ugh, fucking snails.
I'm gonna see if I can find the glam burger.
Oh god.
The stuffed cheddar burger.
I mean, to be fair, Americans have produced some weird food items.
Yes, and mostly
mean-
because it's like a combination of multiple food together.
It's
It's
either
in
we're
the
Frankenstein
images, yeah.
monstering things together, or taking things that weren't meant to be deep fried and deep frying them.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was America that came up with a way to deep fry ice cubes.
Huh?
Sub-zero temperature.
Excuse
Deep
me?
fried ice is a thing in the U.S. It's so dumb. It's like that deep fried butter.
Oh. Okay.
Deep fried ice cream's really good though.
Deep fried ice cream. And then there's just uncountable unholy abominations of burger that are just like you could just look at it and just see the clogged arteries, see the cholesterol on this burger.
It's good though.
To be fair, some of those are admittedly very tasty. Like, I know one of the ones that I feel like gets the balance right of being like
Oh my god.
it's
that's
greasy enough that's like,
disgusting.
oh yeah, that's American, let's go. While not being like excessively is like Five Guys burgers. They just make like actually fairly regular burgers.
You guys, this is okay.
That's disgusting. What is that?
That is the mac and cheese burger I was telling you about.
I'd just rather eat the mac and cheese alone. And the burger alone.
I mean, the thing is though, actually about that actually makes some amount of sense because unironically one of my favorite dishes is just mac and cheese with ground beef in it.
Okay, but that's
So a
adding
hamburger
bit of
helper.
ground beef in it. You're not.
That's a hamburger helper.
Yeah, we don't use hamburger help. We just use ground beef and mac and cheese. Like,
Yeah,
the
because
difference
hamburger
between
helper is so gross, dude. Sometimes you'll get bugs in it.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, sometimes there's like dried meal bugs in the hamburger helper pasta.
What?
Eh.
All right.
Rancid.
Yeah. Yeah. So this mac and cheese burger is basically just that, except it's now on a bun. It's a different way of eating something original. Like that's
It's
another
a
thing
mac
you
and
have to do a
cheese
lot.
sloppy Joe.
Yeah. It's like there's a thing that's been going around that my sibling really likes apparently. Is this thing called a Big Mac burrito,
Oh
which
boy.
is just like a burger patty made out like a Big Mac, except instead of a bun, you've got a tortilla.
Okay, so basically, what I do when I do a fucking what's it called? Fucking instead of a hot dog, I do a hot Dorito.
Hot dog in a burrito.
Basically, in a tortilla.
Mm.
I just slap the hot dog.
I'm exchanging bread for bread.
Yeah, but it's I feel like it's more comfortable for me to.
I
build it
want
up in
this
a
so
burrito.
fucking bad. You have no clue.
That looks like a calorie bomb.
It's cookie dough lovers cheesecake with pecans on it.
That sounds fancy.
I like the pineapple upside down cheesecake a lot though. They're good.
So, Tumblr stories. Mina?
Tumblr stories. I didn't think of any. All I was telling Meep about the toe story, fucking Bone Witch, and the child slave.
Excuse me?
Well, also don't remember the fall of the influencers on Tumblr.
Ah yes, the lack of influencers on Tumblr is amazing, dude. Because you could just reblog something half-assed. You have no idea who you're reblogging it from. You have no idea who the original OP of this post was. It's just a free-for-all. It's great. I've loved Tumblr since like 2014. So not peak Tumblr, but pretty good.
In your own words, Tumblr's a dumpster fire. What is my dumpster fire?
It's a dumpster fire, but it's my dumpster fire of choice. Because it's like less monetized than Twitter or Threads, Insta. It's just fun. So, which one do you want to hear about? The amputated toe, the Bone Witch, or the child slave?
Honestly, any one of the three, because they're all weird.
Some of them I know that Wang has made a video on, like the amputated toe. Basically, somebody had amputated their toe because they were born with a genetic defect, so their toe was out of place, and it was very painful to walk with it. So they've had the toe amputated, and they sent it to some Tumblr user. I think their name was Cummy Eyelids.
Okay.
And so they took the amputated toe, changed out the solution that it was kept in, and made it a necklace, and sent it back to the original user. And so when Twitter and Reddit and all the other social media got a hold of it, they're just like, oh no, it's another Bone Witch.
No Bone Witch. Where does the Bone Witch come from?
So some Tumblr user went around in graveyards, and they lived in an area where there was a lot of flooding. I believe it was Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just pick up the human bones that would float to the top. For context, in New Orleans, they have these things called pizza oven graves. Or something like that, right? So they would put the human body in there, and then once their time to rent the grave is up, they just shove the bones to the back and they put in a new motherfucker.
That's interesting for sure.
I mean, they can't bury it because, like I said, there's a lot of flooding. The bodies would not stay in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the Bone Witch would just, like, she would take her bones unethically, and then that was a whole fiasco on Tumblr, people trying to run her off. So that's the Bone Witch. Amputated toe necklace, that was the thing. The Cummy Eyelids later got called out for owning a child skull that they bought at a flea market.
Oh wait, hold on. Can you repeat that last part?
She got called out for owning a child skull that she bought at a flea market.
Okay.
Alleged, according to her, it was a discarded body that was. It's theorized it was a discarded body from an age of medicine from colleges. You know how people donate their bodies to science?
Yes.
They think it's like because of the age of the skull, it might have been before those bodies were ethically sourced. And she's like, I don't care, it's kind of really just rad to have it.
I mean, fair enough. It's weird, but at the same time, it's...
There's a lot of grave robbing on Tumblr.
That's a good sign.
It's my dumpster fire of choice.
That reminds me though of it was a joke someone made. It was about like a Warhammer setting. It was like I forget the exact quote. I think I put it in the quotes channel in your server, Mina. It's the
It's buried there somewhere.
the hold on. Let me
What are the
actually
big-
pull it up properly. But it's something about skull. There it is. Tommy got beheaded last week, and now he's in the cafeteria waiting to show you the cool cup he's made out of his own skull.
Ah.
I mean,
Pretty cool, though.
to be fair, if you got beheaded and came back to life, and you got given your own skull, what would you do with it?
I'd probably also make it a cup.
Same.
So yeah, bones, dude. You're weird.
Yes.
Anyway,
So
so
let's see.
back to the idea box. Weird things
Yeah.
that school made you do.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Weird
like,
things that you were forced to do at
Thi-
school.
Yeah, things that your school made you do that you're just like, but why?
Do you guys remember that stand on a line thing? Like stand on the line if you do X, Y, Z. Stay on the line if you've done ABC. That kind of thing.
no, not really.
I vaguely
Okay.
remember something like that.
Yeah.
I think I may have
It's
done it like
basic.
once.
It's like a game, right? It's kind of like put a finger down, but on a bigger scale. So my high school, they were talking to us about mental health, and they would take like small groups at a time, right? So at one point, I got called up, and my friend Cross was there, my friend Alex was there. It was neat. But they're basically like, stay on the line if you've ever wanted to kill yourself. Stay on the line if you've ever tried to kill yourself. Like, they eased us into it, but it was just like, I don't think we need to make that public, you know?
Yeah.
Especially
I
because
mean-
they're not offering counseling services after that.
I feel they definitely should.
Yeah.
But you know,
You'd think
they
so.
probably
but
don't
no.
have the money for that. American public schools and all that.
Yeah.
Given what is it? I think it's the city of Oakland has like a 20% vacancy rate for teachers.
Yeah, teachers don't get paid enough. They have to buy their own school supplies for their students.
Apparently, in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's like there's reports like, yeah, the teachers have like gone homeless because they don't have enough money to afford a home.
Especially because they don't get paid in the summer.
Some of them do, depends on the district. Anyway,
Yeah.
for my school made me do a lot of weird things. My elementary school. That's like when you go back and think about it. Like, I think it was 4th grade, I want to say, or maybe it was 5th. They had us do this thing they called the manners party, which basically they had everyone dress up in like fancy and like pretend we're like the aristocracy doing like a fancy dinner or what fancy lunch or whatever, and like be like super like forward. It's like, but why? It's not like we're at like some posh school. We're at like maybe middle upper class elementary school. Maybe. It's like, but why?
Why do
I-
any of this?
Like basically, like every single person in my class, I remember, so like just kind of like meh at best on this thing. It's like we just like no one cares. Like just nothing like the teachers want us to do or something. I don't know. It's like that and pictures because I freaking love pictures. The other like weird thing we did that was a thing that was like a school tradition that was definitely 4th grade was the school partnered with a museum in San Francisco for this, okay? So we're off to a great start already. We have to go all the way to San Francisco from the San Jose area, which is, hold on, I'm looking up the distance for Jimmy. 48 miles or kilometers. That is about, depending on the route, close to 90 kilometers.
Okay, that's not a lot.
It is when you're a child.
But this is keep in mind a bunch of 4th graders. We went up there, and the museum is an old Age of Sail tall ship. Okay, and we basically just pretended to be crew members on the boat for like 3 days.
Dang, bro.
Wait, for like
Well,
3 days straight, living on a boat.
Yes,
Oh, that's whack.
as it's just tied up on the pier because it's a museum.
Cool though. I would have loved something like that. I had my
Yeah,
friend.
it was somewhat enjoyable. Just like, just what do you think? It was like kind of weird. It doesn't really like tie into anything. It's just a thing we did. And the thing is, it's been going for so long that they've actually done it on 2 different boats because the one they used to do it on like went into maintenance, and so they changed to a different boat that's at the same spot. And I mean, there's a good number of museum boats actually in San Francisco right there. It's like there's those 2 tall ships. There's like an old like paddle boat ferry. There's a World War II submarine. They've got a Liberty transport ship in there somewhere. That one somehow still works. They actually have that thing in like running condition, which is impressive
wow.
given those things had a planned lifespan of like 6 months.
And it's been how long?
80 years, roughly.
Interesting. That's a lot of time.
Yes. Like that's just like 2 examples of weird things we did. I'm trying to remember if like any other like weird field trips we did or something like that. My school did a lot of field trips.
I don't really remember anything weird that we've done in school.
Oh, there was for like history things. One of the teachers, like I think their like aunt or something owned like a large ranch in the hills, and what we did, this is like 3rd grade for history, for California history, is we like went there, like, and again this is something that they had us dress up for in like Oregon Trail era attire and just basically go on a hike, and we did this like twice. Complete with like a little like kiddie wagon that had been done up like it's an Oregon Trail wagon.
That's cute though.
It is kind of cute, but at the same time it's like kind of like when you stop to think about it, it's like, okay, but why? I mean, it was cute and it was fun, and something that really the school was only able to do because that school was like weird special thing where it was like all the parents were like extra involved, so they did a lot of field trips and stuff. Like usually when we went on field trips at school, it's not we loaded onto the bus, it's that like half the parents or like a half dozen parents took like the day off work and like carpooled up to wherever we were going in like minivans. Like all the soccer moms showed up
Where's
with
the
like
goddamn
minivans.
minivans though?
So in the minivans or in the cars, and then my mom was always fun when we did those because obviously all the parents of like the 3rd, 4th, 5th grades or whatever, they've got like the kids bop or the whatever, like super like upbeat music or whatever. It's like the super kiddie friendly, and then my mother just got like, all right, which Metallica disc do we want, kids?
Funny. Oh my god. My dad would have been the same.
Yeah,
Whenever we
it's
went
like
on field
the-
trips.
It was like the had like one of those things like on the sunshades that you could put a bunch of CDs in. And I was like 7 Metallicas and then like 1 obligatory Kids Bop.
Kids Bop did you have?
I don't know.
Whenever we had field trips, my dad, I can't say a lot about my dad, but my dad was always on time for field trips. He was always chaperoning. My teachers appreciated him for that because he kept us in line, especially if we went hiking. We went to go hiking quite a bit in my 6th grade year, and he would always bring candy because you have to keep your sugar up when you're hiking.
Yes.
So that made
Ideally
my dad
Snickers,
quite
actually.
properly. Yeah, ideally Snickers because the protein.
Yeah, Snickers are basically just an energy bar.
Yeah. You aren't you when you're hungry, basically.
True.
But yeah, I think the coolest field trip we ever went on is we took a boat to the nearby island, not archipelago, but we have islands nearby.
Like Catalina Island, right?
The Channel Islands.
Okay.
So we went to the Anacapa, which is typically closed off to the public because that one's meant for research, marine biology research. Being young me, I was focused on being a marine biologist because I thought that was the career I was going to go into. So I was fucking living it up. I was excited. We got to see the coves, we got to see the Pelican Point, the little arch in the island. It's really nice. It's one of the most memorable ones for me.
That's nice.
What about you, Jimmy?
I honestly don't have a lot of recollection of field trips. I'm gonna be honest. They were all mostly pretty boring. We always went to basically the same places. And like 7th grade onwards, we didn't have field trips anymore.
What were the places you went to?
The Oceanographic. Until like 5th grade, there was a circus in January, and we went there. I think we went a couple of times to the Albufera. Like nothing really interesting. And like there was one of these like farm schools, I guess you could say. There was a couple of days field trip, but I never went to those. Mostly because my parents didn't want me to go, but I don't know, I just didn't have anything. I didn't go anywhere interesting until like, I guess you could call it like 11th grade. When we went to an exchange to fucking Norway.
No, that's a field trip if you go to Norway.
Yeah, we went to an exchange field to trip to Norway. It was pretty fun. I still have a couple memories.
The
For
States,
example, me.
only like...
Sorry?
Never
Yeah.
even left the state.
No, go on.
So we went, like I said, an exchange trip to Norway, and it was a pretty cool day. One of the days when we were like the students hanging out, we went to like this bowling area plus a
Laser gun area, like this.
Oh,
We played
that's an
both.
interesting combination.
In my lane, I got second, and in the laser gun thing, and from the two teams, I got the most points out of everyone.
Nice.
I was fucking
And
killing it.
Jimmy blasted.
People were calling me lame because I just knew how to fucking play the game.
You knew how to aim.
I knew how to fucking I not only that, I also took cover and I picked a lot of people by surprise.
Wow, you actually used tactics instead of
Yeah,
running
like
around like a headless
immediately,
chicken.
like I was always defending our base. I was the dude defending our base, and they called me campy. And I was like, just get good, lol. And like I had all,
I'm playing the objective.
yeah, no, I was playing the defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, even then, I was like, I think the names of the characters in the teams were like Star Wars, and I think I was Obi-Wan. And I think if I look for it, I can probably find it somewhere because I sent this picture on the. Maybe knows the server SSEZ. In there,
Yeah,
so
stupid code EV comic.
let me just look it up. I'll
Discord
probably
server.
have it somewhere. Just give me a second. But yeah, it was like I got second on my lane on the bowling too, which felt nice. That was like the first time I went bowling. Also, that was like the first time I spent like a long time surrounded by snow.
Yeah, because it's Norway.
No, but also because where I am in Spain, there's never fucking snow.
It's never snow here in California either.
You have to go to specific spots in California to get
Yeah.
snow. My friends and I, we went to Big Bear, which is
It's
pretty
either
high
the
up.
far north or the far east of the state.
Hmm.
Because
Mhm.
far north is the north and the far east is where the mountains are.
Big Bear is like 2 hours away from Los Angeles.
Just avoid the southeast because that's all desert.
Yeah, it's all desert. That's where like Coachella, and I'm still salty that 2020 took away Coachella Hatsune Miku away from us.
What?
Oh, so Hatsune Miku was supposed to perform in Coachella in 2020, and then COVID hit.
Okay. I think one of the kind of amusing things though from like the Sierra Nevadas is the trained snowplows they use. Is they have specialized trained snowplows, which is literally it's just like a normal like engine from a train that they've put like on the front end just a giant snowblower.
From Thomas the Tank Engine.
No. No, it's not like it. Those in Thomas the Tank Engine when it snows, they just put like snowplows on the front of them. No, it is a giant snowblower. The height of the entire locomotive. You can look them up. It is somewhat comical. It's like, hey, it works. And it's like it is a snowblower because it just yeets the snow side up into the side, and it yeets it like 50 feet. Because obviously they've got the power of a locomotive behind it, causing it to yeet snow.
Cry.
Anyway, on the topic of a foreign country, though, the World Scout Jamboree has been ongoing, the 25th World Scout Jamboree, and it's been a bit of a kerfuffle, apparently. If you're not familiar with what the World Scout Jamboree is, basically it's like Boy Scout convention.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the best way to summarize it. Is it's Boy Scout convention, except the Girl Scouts are there too. Because in most of the places that aren't the U.S., it's just one group. It's just, the U.S. is weird and makes them be separate. And this year it was in South Korea, and South Korea did not do a good job planning it. They put it in basically an empty field, which it rained like the day before, so when everyone showed up, it was like a swamp. The shade was basically non-existent, so like after the first day, like 30 people got heat exhaustion, and that's the people who like reported it. The food was bad, and apparently there's some people who were reporting it was like rotted. Just on and on, just so much terrible things that was done horribly. And then they had to evacuate because a typhoon was coming, which, you know what, that's not their fault, but still. At the same time, people were leaving even before that because it was just not going well. And I can't speak on this because I went to the one before this. The one before this one, the 24th. I got some stuff from that. It was very nice. That was in West Virginia.
Your mama.
Yes, we did sing that constantly. Yes, this was after like immediately after Fallout 76 advertising and Country Roads was really popular. People sang that all the time there. It basically became like the unofficial theme song of the event.
Did you guys sing it anytime somebody said the words West Virginia?
No, but we
By
sang
the
it
way,
a lot.
I sent the pictures. I found the pictures. They're in the images.
Of the bowling, let's go,
And
the laser tag, yeah.
Like, I didn't have the best aim, but when I hit well, so... I hit it out to get 21,000
Accuracy by volume.
Exactly. Do you know what this is? You know what this is? This is like fucking, what's it called? Siege. I pre-fire.
Rip.
Imagine pre-firing.
the to be fair, the Scout Jamboree is like a big thing. You have to like just exposure. South Korea apparently did it really poorly, and it's been like really embarrassing for them because they were like hyping it up and stuff too, and and it was pushed back because COVID. It's just kind of sad. Kind of sad for them that it went poorly. I mean, but you know what? From what I've seen, people are trying to make the most of it still, which is nice. I also the like 2 or 3 years before the 24th World Scout Jamboree that I went to, there was the national one that was at the same place that I also went to. That one was very different experience, not just because there weren't people there, but also because we did some other stuff before. We like went around DC and saw a lot of the museums in DC. Things like the Lincoln Memorial and the Air and Space Museum, stuff like that. The other thing with that one is it's a tradition at the National Scout Jamborees in the United States that the president shows up and gives a speech. That is a tradition, and this was during the Orange Man's presidency.
Oh boy.
So I couldn't even sit. I had to stand through one of his speeches, which basically I'm not going to go into details, but he started off the speech saying, "We're not going to get political," and then ends the speech like it's a rally.
Hell yeah.
And very clearly goes off script. And after the fact, the Scouts had to issue an official apology.
Orange Man.
Yeah, that's basically all you need to know. Is after the speech, the Scouts had to issue an official apology. All you need to know. All you need to know about how that went. But that does mean I have the unfortunate honor of having to stand through one of his speeches.
That's unfortunate.
Also, like as a joke, one of the people in my unit, you can actually, if you watch like the recording of it, because it was recorded and televised, you can see when this happens. Someone in my unit, like as a joke, just shouts really loudly, "I love you, Trump," and then Trump responds to it. Like everyone like cheers. She's like, "Yo, you got the president to respond to you." Like, just ignoring that as Orange Man, the fact that you said something and got the president of the United States to pause what he was doing to respond to what you said in a positive way, that is unironically kind of hype, even if it was Orange Man.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
But anyway, for something now completely different.
So you all know how one of the Hawaiian islands is on fire, right?
Yes, actually, it's two of
Can
them,
I? Hold on, can I?
It's two of them.
Two of them on fire, great. Not only has the Pokemon Company given out a large sum of money to help out Hawaii, the next World Champions is gonna be in Honolulu.
Nice.
I was just checking Twitter, and yeah, the next World Champions for Pokemon is gonna be in Honolulu.
So, yes, I've been watching the Hawaiian wildfires thing. There are fires on two islands, the island of Maui and on the Big Island, which is the one named Hawaii proper. The one on the Big Island hasn't been too much of a big deal, but the one on Maui is the one that's been causing all the problems.
Yeah.
The from the current today's news from like an hour and a half ago, the current report is that the death toll is at 93. Because one of the contributing factors is not just that, you know, it's a wildfire, but also Hawaii has also been having a drought, because like it's also like just before the rainy season there, so everything was dry. And not too far away, there's a typhoon whose like perimeter winds are cause the fire to move very, very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it it's been so dangerous is because it was moving so quickly. Which meant people had very little time to escape. Like for context, there's multiple reports of people like jumping into the water to avoid the fire because it was moving so fast that was their only way to escape it. The Coast Guard, the Hawaiian National Guard, both mobilized for rescue efforts and to help fight it. Multiple U.S. states have sent firefighters over, including California. California sent over like 20, I think it was like 24, 36 search and rescue experts to aid in recovery operations. The historic capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii, I think it's pronounced like Lahana or something like that, got razed to the ground. It's just gone. It's gone. This is generally a big mess, but good news is a lot of people are rallying to help it. A lot of aid money's been sent in. A lot of the airlines that serve it have basically just said, alright, we're not going to charge you, just get on the plane. Get on the plane, we'll get you to a different island. Multiple of like the tourist helicopter companies are providing rescue and surveying aid. It's just it's awful that all this has happened, but the good news is everyone's kind of rallied together to kind of help it, but the death toll is, you know, very high and is expected to keep rising as they search through the wreckage and recover remains. Yeah. But, like, I'm staying on the topic of Hawaii, but something slightly different. You mentioned Honolulu.
Yes.
Which is on a different island that isn't on fire. I've recently, like this week, learned that Honolulu has opened a brand new metro system. Which, first of all, new train, always a big pog. Second of all, it's like actually, like unironically, really good. Like, it's a more or less fully elevated, fully autonomous system with like platform screen doors and everything. Is like actually like a good system that they've built. They've got expansion plans already in the works for it, which, to be fair, it's less like proper expansion plans, it's more this was the full initial plan. However, we have this bit that's ready to go already. It's the initial section, so we'll start it going. The main complaint I've seen levied at it is it's like they kind of have the, at least for now, the train to nowhere syndrome, because it doesn't go to like the airport and downtown yet. They started on like the edge of town where it's easier to build like the yard, the surface yard, and one of the stations is literally in the middle of a random field. However, the reason it's there is because there's planned to build like a whole bunch of stuff next to it, so they built the train and then they're going to build around the train. Something just the US doesn't do, but it should do more. Specifically build around the train. Also, because it's an autonomous system, that means you can like go to the front of the vehicle and look out the front window. Which is really cool. I'm just kind of nerding out because cool train, but you know. And that means when the Pokemon World Tournament happens, people can ride cool train. Hopefully.
Might as well be in Hawaii, because Hawaii's cool.
Yes. As well as being in Hawaii, where there's a lot of cool things to see, especially in Honolulu.
I was in Kauai. The one time I was in Hawaii, I was in Kauai. Pretty cool experience. Do we want to talk about this person, the news that we've been talking about in the idea box, or is that like too morbid?
See, it's going. Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt me, and I also had lost track about earlier in the conversation, and I didn't want to be rude.
I mean, fair enough. The same as well, but I think we are done with the conversation. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Yes, we're done with Hawaii, at least for now.
Okay. Thoughts and prayers and solutions for all of those in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Solutions, preferably.
Solutions are preferable.
Yeah, because unironically, in the U.S., whenever something happens, like, oh, thoughts and prayers. Honestly, at this point, it feels more like they're just saying tough shit.
That is what they're saying, though.
Sucks to suck.
Cries.
Sorry your friends died.
So,
So yeah, Little Tay. Little Tay was 9 years old when they rose to prominence in Instagram and later TikTok. She was known as a flexer. Her real name is Claire. So basically, her family managed to profit off of her pretending to have a lot of money and all of these cars at 9 years old. Right? She's like those reggaetoneros.
oh god.
But as I described it to my mom.
I get that. Me too. I understand what you mean.
Something
Fucking
Spanish.
Reggaetoneros are
Have
like
you-
rappers. She pretended to like have the rap lifestyle, but she's 9. She's a little Asian girl at 9 years old, pretending that she owns this Ferrari. So basically, her parents made a lot of money off of people like buying into Lil Tay's act, right?
Yeah.
So I can't remember the entirety of the court case, but I do know that about a week ago, her Instagram came out and said that she and her brother had both passed away, and they were very close to winning a court case against their father for the rights of her, the content she created as a child, because her mom and dad were the ones who were in charge of that.
Yes.
You know. So, not soon after, a couple of days later, Little Tay had a new Instagram account, and she is like, "No, yo, my old account was hacked. It's still underneath my dad's protection. My brother and I are fine. We're so close to winning this court case, and I don't know what." But so many like people who quote unquote knew her, like an old manager, was like, "Yeah, no, they're not going. They're dead." But he's been in a couple of her videos, so he knows her. People confirm he knows her. But it's just a weird situation, and no one knows what the truth is with his family anymore. Especially because not everybody was doubting that she was dead already, because they have a long history of lying.
Who, the parents?
The family, just all of them.
The whole money was based on them pretending to be wealthy anyway.
And then they were wealthy, but most of the money was coming in from a 9-year-old, 14 years old now. She's currently 14.
But you know, he's questionably legal at best.
I think, to be honest, I think the parents pulled a Gary Coleman on her, and that's why they're in court.
Explain?
Gary Coleman was a famous sitcom star, and I know him through Avenue Q, which is a musical. He never actually performed in it. They just made a lot of Gary Coleman jokes.
Ah.
He's most famous for his catchphrase, "What you talking about, Willis?" Well, he was performing as a child, and because he was a child, his parents held on to his money, and so eventually they just stole the money and never gave it to him once he turned 18.
Ah.
Yeah,
That's
so
bullshit.
Gary Coleman
is-
has since passed.
Oh.
That is why, in the modern day, there were very, very strict child actor protection laws, which apparently don't automatically apply to social media.
Social media is different because it's not technically a media. They are themselves uploading content, right? They themselves in the family. There's no directors, there's no protections for them against schoolwork, which is why there's so many cases of children being used for content in content farms.
Family channels. First thing that
Family
comes to mind.
channels. Yeah, family channels are not under these protections because it is the parents uploading it, and the parents allegedly know what's best for their kids. The Ace family comes to mind. That one mom that like filmed her entire adoption process only to return the child.
Oh my god.
Yeah, his name was like they named him Huxtable or something like that. This child from China. They knew coming in he was special needs. But she's like, oh, I just assumed he had cancer because I used to be a nurse. But he has autism, so she was not vibing with it. So she returned him. Like, a fucking item at Target.
Cringe.
Big cringe. So yeah, family channels and people who like make money based off the videos of children
Are cringe.
are not under those. Are cringe. Big cringe.
Hot
Big
take,
losers.
child labor of any kind is pretty cringe.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just
Apparently that's a controversial thing nowadays, though.
What?
bad. Dude, my heart broke when that factory had the child workers inside of it, and most of them for like Guatemala, because it's just like, I know Guatemala is a poor country, but you have to send your kids to school. Doesn't matter if they're not documented students. You gotta send them to school at some point. That's just the law here.
I'm more talking about how multiple U.S. states have been rolling back child labor protections.
And it's just like, why?
The
I
kids
know the
yearn
economy
for the
is
mines,
bad.
apparently.
The kids do not yearn for the mines. They can't even vote and say, no, we don't want this.
Yeah, and keep in mind that the political team that's the one that's doing this, the same one who's always like, we need to protect the kids.
Protect the kids, at least while they're still in the womb.
Protect the kids while they're in the womb and from the gays.
Ah, yes. Protect the children from the gays.
Yes, because I totally want to touch your stupid, gross, sticky ass kid.
Yeah, no, that's more of a Catholic priest thing.
Got a point.
Bruh. Are we... Is it okay if we
Moving
move
on to something, moving on to something much more lighthearted and actually good news. It's I forget what's the name of the facility, but I'm pretty sure it's a place in California. They have successfully repeated a net positive nuclear fusion experiment, meaning they got more power out of it than they put into it.
Nice.
You mean the ones at the titties?
What?
The nuclear titties by San Diego.
Hold on.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, but
There's a building on the way to San Diego. It's an energy plant of some sort. I'm not sure. We just call them the nuclear titties. And you know you're near Mexico when you drive by them.
oh, I saw that building. No, not that building. That's
Okay.
just a nuclear power plant.
Okay.
I know what that building is because I drove by it when I went down to see my cousin when he graduated from Marine boot camp.
Congrats to him. But yeah, the nuclear titties.
Yeah, no, that's just a nuclear power. No, it's a science facility where they've been doing fusion experiments for a long time, and for the second time they've announced that they achieved a fusion ignition where they got more power out of it than they put into it. This time it was an even better result than the first time, and this is really good news because nuclear fusion is basically the if it can be made to reliably work net positive, it is basically the golden ticket to energy. Until the fossil fuel companies somehow portray it as evil because it's technically nuclear energy. As they do.
Tend to do.
It's not like even the old uranium fission plants aren't like super safe. Statistically, the fusion's gonna be even safer. But you know what? That's a problem for future politics. For now, we have good technology that is working, and they've successfully made it work slightly better than last time, and they're on the road to making it work consistently, where they can start like rolling it out maybe within our lifetime.
Shit's rad. I love science.
Science is cool.
It's Quite literally, the power of the sun. Not in the palm of your hand, though. Much too big for that. Next we have Jimmy's, let's hope it's not a shiny. Shiny appears anyway clip.
But, for some reason, these last couple of days, except yesterday, you know, because I was traveling, so I didn't have a lot of time to play Pokemon games, I've gotten a shiny every day. Today I got a shiny, Zigzagoon in Pokemon Go.
My friend Maddie got one too the other day.
Like, a Galarian Zigzagoon, the middle of town, just randomly shiny. This is the worst part. These are random fucking shinies. Meanwhile, I'm shiny hunting Pokemon and I'm getting nothing. Like, I'm shiny hunting 5 Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and I've gotten nothing. Which is very depressing.
That's just how the RNGs work sometimes. RNGs giveth and RNGs taketh away.
Well, RNGs just taketh away because I'm getting nothing that I want.
He gaveth you a shiny, do noteth complaineth.
Well, complain, goddammit. It's not supposed to be that way. Speaking of Pokemon, I don't know if Meep has, you know, old Pokemon games that he still has.
I have my copy of Pokemon Diamond on my desk in front of me.
Did you reset that save file?
No.
Okay, so Pokemons we've had since childhood. Not the games, the Pokemons themselves.
I've got my original save file with all my Pokemon of Pokemon Diamond, Heart Gold, and White version all on my desk. They're actually in my hand.
I left most of my games at home, but a picture I sent is from my original copy of Pokemon Platinum with a Fearow on it from 2008. This is one of the only Pokemons that remain from my original Diamond save file before I reset it.
I think I've also got, in this one, I've got my X, I've got my Omega Ruby, I've got my Sun and my Ultra Sun.
I just wanted to talk about, you know, how sometimes it's so nice.
I don't reset my Pokemon saves.
Like, sometimes.
My partner put all of my Pokemon in his Pokemon bank so that we could reset and he could play the games.
Fair enough.
But like honestly, at this point, if I want to like go back and play Pokemon Diamond again, I'll just download a ROM.
Yeah, fair enough. Like when I was younger-ish and I didn't have, you know, a good DS emulator, I did reset my Diamond save file a couple of times, but I will never what's it called? I reset, but I will never reset my Platinum save file, especially my 2001.
Wow. 2001.
2009, sorry.
I was gonna say, I don't think Platinum came out that early.
No, it's 2009. I'm sorry. But yeah, it had been a while ago. And it is. Sometimes I go back to play, and each time that I like take I always have to take like 3 tries to get it on, to like the game get the game started. And honestly, I'm kind of scared that one of these days it's just not gonna turn on.
That would be big sad.
Yes, very much so. I would genuinely just not be on Discord or streaming for a couple of days, because I have a lot of good memories with that save file.
You would just be sobbing, be absolutely depressed.
Yes, and it's not even a joke.
It's like if you did stream, it would just be like a still image of like Mappa crying.
I mean, and
it would just be titled Pokemon Platinum. My original Pokemon Platinum has died. I am distraught. 24-hour stream.
Speaking of, that goal was met. Well, you know, we have Tsukuba 9 hours rolling around. But yeah, the goal for the 24-hour race is complete, so I will have to do that eventually. What else can we?
The other thing we had is that was following off of the thing Mina spoke about with the cringe child acting case. We'd kind of discussed that a little bit beforehand, and came across like outdated. Basically, came to the conclusion, yeah, those child acting protection laws are probably outdated now. And I said, speaking of, have I spoken on mandatory parking requirements yet? And we're pretty sure I have not, so I'm gonna speak on those. So, I'm pretty sure this isn't a thing in Spain or Europe in general. At least not anymore. If this was a thing that was very common in the US in like the 50s and 60s when it was rolled out, which was requirements for buildings to have a minimum amount of parking they are required to have. Existing buildings were grandfathered in, but if they were renovated or something, they would then have to have the mandatory parking added to them. Usually by demolishing the building next to them to build a parking lot.
Ah, of course.
And basically, the main reason this was done is cars. This was when cars were getting a big thing, and cities realized they could not afford to provide parking for cars themselves. So they basically said, all right, if you want to do anything in the city, you got to provide your own parking. And we're going to tell you how much you have to put on. And the main reason it's super cringe is the way they decided how much parking you need is basically, they guessed. It's basically, the way the parking minimums were set is either people basically guessed, or they asked the next city over, which probably basically guessed. There was no science involved. They just kind of arbitrarily guessed, and that's why, in the modern day, it is estimated that for every automobile on the road, there are 4 parking spaces in the US. Not counting homes. Or single-family homes, anyway. This is like just like multi-family places, like apartments, and like stores, and factories and things. And they are horrible.
I assume you shared an. Oh no, it's Mina who shared an image.
Just been sending memes.
Yeah, I seen that.
The thing with these is especially downtown areas suffered from these laws. Because this is where you get pictures like of Los Angeles, where it's like basically half the city's just been demolished to build parking lots.
Bruh.
Or lots of cities that happened where it's like it just got basically the entirety of downtown got removed from parking. It's like, I know we joked several weeks ago about the U.S. turning all of Moscow into a parking lot, into a Walmart. But let's be real, if we did that, we would turn like Red Square into a Walmart, and the rest of Moscow would be a parking lot.
Jeez Louise.
Because that's the thing, especially like large stores in the U.S. On average, like over 50% of like a commercial lot in America is parking lot, regardless of what the application is.
My God, that is way too much.
Yes, it's
especially considering how gigantic the stores are.
Yeah. The other thing is like things like apartment buildings also have minimum parking requirements, and it's estimated.
And you know what? There's still not enough parking. Because some people own more than 2 cars.
Which is dumb. But the other thing with that is, all the times that parking is quote unquote free for the apartment buildings, or even like the stores, it's just free parking. Except it's not free parking, because the money to maintain it and build it has to come from somewhere, and that's either in higher rent or in higher prices in the store, whether you own a car or not. and I think the estimate is, on average in the U.S., your rent in like an apartment building is $300 more just for your parking.
I can confirm.
And this has led to, especially in downtown developments, you can't build middle stuff. You either build stuff for like super low end, like basically subsidized housing, or you build super high end, because that way you can actually afford to build the parking requirements. Because there are places. I think one of the first places to do away with the minimum parking requirements is actually a town in Alabama. Okay?
Okay.
And the reason this was done is that the city had a really, really bad case of this. Where the downtown, okay? Like 80% of the buildings were just vacant. Because no one, if you wanted to like take one of these buildings and renovate it to be a new business, they'd all been grandfathered in, so you basically need to buy as well the next building, the one next to the one you wanted to use, knock it down and turn it into a parking lot in the historic downtown of the city or this town. And eventually the city council realized this was fucking stupid, so they got rid of that law, and by the end of the year, nearly the entire downtown had businesses in it.
Nice.
Because people could now actually afford to buy the buildings to put businesses in them. And the other thing this meant is because they're close together, because it's not like massive parking lots next to them, people could actually like walk between the stores or take the bus to the stores.
Oh my god, buses in America?
Public transit in America, I know.
It's wild.
Incredible. It's like, and the other thing, because there's more stores there, that means the city got more tax income from it, so they could afford to do things like put in better buses or actually maintain the roads. Incredible. I know. It's the gradually the U.S. has started to finally wake up to the fact the way it's been doing stuff for the last like half century is really stupid. At least in some parts of the country. In some parts of the country, they really aren't, and they're really actively fighting it. But you know, you win some, you lose some. Like I think we talked about it last week. The freaking Las Vegas Tesla Tunnel of Doom.
Yes. Yes, which is basically public transport 2.0. People are trying to invent the wheel, even though it has been already invented.
What you have
Privately
is
owned
you've just
public
invented a
transport.
really shitty subway.
Oh, right.
It's really dumb.
What
And it
else?
took them like 15 minutes to decide to do this, but it took them like an hour to decide whether or not someone should be able to build an enclosed porch on their own land. Because that's the other thing with a lot of these stupid zoning laws and minimum parking requirements is the government's telling you what you can and can't do on your own land.
This is true. We had to go through hell because we thought we could just put a shed in the backyard, or like not a shed, but like a small housing unit for like a tenant.
An auxiliary dwelling unit is what they're called officially.
Yeah. And then this lady, her brother is a cop, so she feels like she owns the entire neighborhood. And she got us into trouble. We hadn't gotten far into construction, but we managed to fix it. But man,
Also,
nobody felt bad for her, even when her son died.
What?
Is it also like an HOA community?
No, we're not an HOA.
Okay.
We
It's
were
just
in
your
like a
normal
poor
zoning law.
neighborhood at the time.
It's Karens like that. No one likes, but you know.
Like I said, no one felt bad for her, even when her son died.
The other thing is I saw a video yesterday, actually. That was when I found this. It's a video talking about why a lot of these old zoning laws should be done away with, and it's like, it's not just like giving the argument. It specifically gave like 7 different arguments from 7 different political philosophies, basically saying why these laws are cringe. It's like they have like the classic Democrat, classic Republican, classic conservatism, liberalism, libertarianism, basically going on to like why all of these are really saying like, yeah, these laws are kind of cringe from all of these different political perspectives. And also then also included counter arguments to all of like those different perspectives, saying why these laws aren't cringe, and basically going off on them for saying y'all are being stupid and hypocritical. Because, you know, stupid. And a lot of the other things with a lot of these zoning laws is they're also, as with many things in America, based, in at least partially, in racism. Because if
What isn't?
you can't build anything but make mansions in this neighborhood, guess what? Only the upper class white people can afford to live there.
Cringe.
'Cause-
So what the fuck is a jamboree?
oh,
Jamboree.
that's the I spoke about that earlier. The scouting event. Yeah, it's
Oh.
basically just scout convention.
Oh, okay, my bad.
A jamboree is just a type of like party or event.
It's
It's
kinda-
basically the best way I can summarize it is it's basically a scout convention.
I just sometimes feel like I feel left out a little bit because you two are like talking about so many American things. I'm like,
This isn't an American thing. It's a global event.
it is. Well,
Yeah, the scout.
That's why they
scouts-
held it in
okay.
South Korea.
the
that-
scouts are all over the world. It's all over the world, and one of the things they do is every 4 years, like the Olympics, they have a World Scout Jamboree where they basically pick a location, and everyone shows up and basically does scout convention. The 24th, the one I went to, was in West Virginia. This year's was in South Korea. It was a bit of a mess. I think America's actually hosted it twice, maybe 3 times. I know England's hosted it a couple times, but it's been hosted all over. Japan hosts one, South Korea hosted this one. Probably look up where they've all been. I mean, scouting started in general as a British thing, and it's spread to basically be everywhere.
okay, fair enough.
Like, I'm pretty sure basically the only place they don't have it is like North Korea.
Because of North Korea.
Yeah, because North Korea. Like, China has scouts, Russia has the scouts. Like, everywhere has them. The other thing, actually, another thing of note from the Scout Jamboree I went to, that was the global one. That was like an interesting thing that people noticed, and I had pointed out to me because I was doing it too. All the Americans. The thing is, what you do is when you meet scouts from other places, you like ask where they're from. All the Americans, almost without fail, would say the state they're from before United States. So they'd say they're like from North Dakota, U.S., or they're from Florida, United States, from Maine, United States. As opposed to everyone else said, yeah, I'm from like France, or I'm from Sri Lanka, or I'm from Liechtenstein. The Americans all identified which state they're from. Also, most of the U.S. contingents brought state flags.
Oh my god. Not even like, no, not the U.S. flag, no, our state.
Well, also, everyone had a U.S. flag. It was like provided, but a lot of them also brought state flags. Like, it was to the point where it's like the one I went to, that was just the national one. Like, a lot of people brought state flags too. That makes sense. But no, it's a lot of the like just global event. The Americans all brought their state flags. Like, nearly every American unit out front, they had the U.S. flag, and then across from it, they had their state flag.
That's kind of funny.
The like one exception was there was like a few exceptions, but then there was the other one that I noticed was Wyoming brought a variant of their state flag, which just took the stupid seal off the middle of the flag. Because for some reason, Wyoming has a really good flag, except they slapped a stupid state seal in the middle of it for no reason. Because basically, the other thing you notice is a lot of the U.S. contingents that didn't bring their state flags are all the ones who have really shitty state flags. All the ones that were just blue with a state seal, the name of the state on it. A lot of times the year the state became a state is just so stupid. It's like the states like Arizona, New Mexico, California, they're like, yeah, we got our flags. Texas, we got our flag. Then just like freaking Montana, nope. North Dakota,
At some
nope.
point, Scoutmasters will be like, hey, leave your state flags at home. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, true.
No, all the Americans. No, it's all the scouts brought them. I'm pretty sure at least one person I talked to said that they hadn't realized this was a thing people were doing, and they'd like called like their parents to mail them a copy of their state flag so they could have one.
Bruh.
Bruh.
I think my dog is screaming again. Give me one sec.
Also,
Dog.
speaking of Pokemon news, there's new moves for Pokemon. And it seems that in the DLC, on the second one, you may be able to catch the starter Pokemons. Like, not get them as a gift, like actually just catch them.
Wild starter Pokemon, is that legal?
It looks like it will be soon. On the fucking second round of DLC. Also, there's gonna be like a new quote-unquote Terra type. Which is just going to be like a fucking Omni Terra type. Which kinda cringe, to be honest.
Why?
Beats me.
If they're gonna do a weird Terra type, do the question mark type. Just have the crown be a question mark. With like the like the source purple and black and missing texture. Because that'd be funny. I've actually gone through basically the entire idea box
Yeah,
now.
we have gone through the entire idea box, and it has been an hour and 36 minutes.
Yes, and the stream hasn't crashed.
True, true. I mean, that is maybe because I have the router directly underneath me on the first floor.
You have that good French Wi-Fi.
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking of France, there was a funny thing that came up this week. It's tangentially France related. It was like in a Polish city. They're like, "Oh no, there's some weird animal in this tree," and everyone was like super scared of it. And then like, animal control system, and it's a croissant.
Fucking croissant.
Ho ho ho, wee baguette, wee croissant. Croissant.
Do you remember the fucking video? I wanted to eat a croissant. So I went to a place. No, really?
Nope.
Damn, that was a meme for a little bit. It was really funny. A couple people animated it. Someone animated it with Peach, being like the girl wanting to buy the croissant, and the person saying croissant is Mario.
Okay.
Like a little chibi, scrunkly Mario. But yeah, we have gone through everything on the. I mean, we talked about Pokemon Sleep, I think.
No, I don't think we talked about Pokemon Sleep.
That sounds like a perfect idea then to talk about next. I would talk about
What is actually Pokemon Sleep,
So-
unironically?
Pokemon Sleep is an app that tracks your sleep, and depending on the type of sleep that you do, gives you different types of Pokemon. And during the day, while you're not asleep, you take care of a Snorlax that gives more sleeping power, I guess you could say, that attracts more Pokemon with different types of sleeping positions. Like each Pokemon has like 4 different poses of like sleeping. Like you can get shiny Pokemon in that game too. I know this. I have one. But yeah, that is the gist of like Pokemon Sleep. It's just funny sleep game, but with actual little bit of depth to it. Like you can send friend requests to other people, and they will give you like a Pokemon candy of like the type of the Pokemon they have one of the Pokemon they have researched. And also like when you go to sleep, it like tells you connect the phone to the what's it called charger and put it on your bed because it won't work well if you don't have it on your bed. So what I meant with I feel out of place here is when you two are talking about American things, not specifically the Jamboree. I honestly just kind of blank there. I just feel like very out of place. I feel a little. Oh, me has a problem. Hey, oh, hello.
I'm back.
Yes, you are back. I assume mic problems.
Decided internet is cringe for about 10 seconds.
So I assume you did hear the Pokemon Sleep talk, right?
Yes, because my other device right next to me, I just turned the volume up and I could hear you talking about it on stream.
Fair enough.
Because this device had no problems with the internet, but my PC decided it was cringe.
Dang.
Oof. But yeah, I generally, if like you have sleep problems, I do kind of generally recommend Pokemon Sleep. It's kind of cool. Also, but yeah, you need to have it on your bed while connected to the charger, or if not, it won't fucking work.
Pokemon Go,
Put
Pokemon
it on your bed,
Home,
you just
Pokemon
kind of need
Sleep.
it on the nightstand next to you.
No, it cannot be on the nightstand. It needs to be on the bed.
Weird.
It cannot be on a flat, like, hard surface. It has to be on the bed.
What do you mean it has to be on a flat surface?
It cannot be on a flat, like on a nightstand or on the floor. It can't be there.
But why? But why?
I think it tells you in the tutorial, but it's been like 2 weeks since I saw the tutorial, and I do not remember. I think it's because it cannot record the sounds well or something. Or like the movement.
I mean, I don't care about the
sleeping
sounds
on the bed, or like it cannot
I don't
like
care about the movement.
track the movement on your bed or something. I don't know.
I can't. I
Pokemon
don't
Go
care about
Home
the
and
movement.
Sleep.
But yeah, it is a curious little device. You also have Pokemon Smile. Don't forget.
What?
Yeah, Pokemon Smile. It's an app which makes you brush your teeth, and you can catch
Okay.
Pokemons from that from the first generation.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I'm really
That
just
was from
looking out for
a while
everybody's
ago. I
mental
think that was like Gen 8. That was like Pokemon Sword and Shield days when that was announced. I think Pokemon Sleep
No
was
new
a
mystery
meme.
dungeon though.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really want a new mystery dungeon.
I do.
Ever since Super, I'm just like, I don't really want a Spurs of Sky remake either because I'm like, they're gonna fucking ruin it.
No, don't make a remake, just make a new one.
That's why I don't want the new one either because Super was fucking bad. It's not a good game. I do not like it.
I enjoyed it.
There's a lot of things wrong with it.
To be
and
fair,
it's-
you like Scarlet Violet. It has its issues. It's a fun game, but it's mid.
I mean, fair enough. I'm just biased because it's also in Spain. It's in
Yeah.
España. So I'm also biased for that. But I genuinely think, after playing nearly 1,000 hours, that's the best 3D Pokemon game that I have released. Bugs and everything. I definitely prefer it
It's
over
just
the Gen 6 games. I have not played Gen 8, so I can't really say much. And I do prefer it over Sun and Moon.
Yeah, I think Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon were one of the better 3D games.
They're good.
Yeah, agreed.
They're definitely like second place for me because X and Y are just bad. Because every
Yeah,
was fun for when it
I
came
did
out.
not like Pokemon X.
like
It was fun
the-
for when it came out. It's just disappointing because they just dropped everything.
the Pokemon X, Pokemon Y, had really, really lackluster difficulty curves of any kind. It's basically just it didn't exist. There was no difficulty.
there was no difficulty. The rivals were cringe.
The rivals were pretty cringe. I will say Lumio City was pretty cool.
Yeah, okay. What I will give, Kalos has a lot of really pretty places.
I more just really liked how expansive the city felt.
Yeah, because you could take a taxi to go places.
Well, also just because there's so many back roads and alleys you
True.
can go down and stuff.
No, but I mean, like, there's also like.
I'm pretty sure there's someone in the city who battles you to try and mug you.
But like,
Question: Did you guys ever find out what was up with the lava cookie thing in Lumios?
the lava cookie thing?
Yeah. In Jean Plaza, there's this lady who says that she feels like going for lava cookies, and she sound something about Pokemon roars. I don't remember. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't remember. I mean, it's
In
been like
Jean Plaza, the Yellow Plaza.
it's been like 3 years, 4 years since I played X and Y, so I don't really remember.
She mentions she mentions a lava cookie, and she mentions it kind of makes you want to roar like a Pokemon. And so some people back when that was first discovered were thinking, "Oh, is Heatran over here? What if you bring a Heatran here?" And then you do, and then nothing happens. It's just a very strange thing for an NPC to say.
Well, there's nothing.
Maybe it's because it's so delicious that it makes you roar like a tiger.
There's nothing on it on Bulbapedia mentioning it. The only thing related to X and Y on it is the obtain location, where it's just any hotel from Madame after meeting her 4 times.
And then in Lumios, there's also that mysterious writing on the back of the train timetable.
You know what people have, one of the things that people have taken out of Gen 6 is the random Hexmaniac selling Moo Moo milk in one of the towns.
And then there's the Ghost Girl in Lumios.
Gen 6 made an uprising with the Hex Girl. But like those two, especially like if you see more adult drawings, yeah, it is probably one of the most drawn NPCs.
Okay. It was Gen 6 also that had like the weird sky battles thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they had sky battles and they had the hordes, which I kind of miss hordes.
Yeah.
Eh.
The problem with the horde battles though
Could take
is
it on
you just use surf and you win.
True, but like people used horde battles for shiny hunting because fight Pokemon at once instead of one at a time.
It's also
Or
easier for calling for help with Gen 7.
Honestly, I prefer the SOS system.
Omega Ruby was very good though.
Fun with it.
I liked it.
I definitely prefer the original ones. Not gonna lie.
I never got to finish the original ones because my brother traded the cartridge for fucking snacks.
Bruh.
That's cringe. I'm sorry, that's cringe. Mina, one of these days we're gonna put you on a Visual Void Advance and you're gonna play through Emerald.
I have Emerald. I just don't know what happened to it. I don't. My brother traded away my Sapphire.
Bruh.
And then the Emerald I had, the battery had died, so it didn't do time anymore.
Well, I mean, it's not that bad that you can't do.
Didn't
time.
they
Not that
remove the
bad,
time
but-
system from Gen 3?
Gen 3 had the time system for berries.
No,
Oh.
they didn't have the time system for the remakes, the Gen 1 remakes. So if you wanted Umbreon or Espeon, you had to transfer them from Emerald. Gen 3 original games did have time systems. They just didn't have like in Gold and Silver would like turn to day to from day to night.
Alright, it was the day-night cycle, so you
Yeah.
couldn't get Umbreon.
No, you could. It just didn't show that it was nighttime.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't any visual effect for nighttime.
I will say this though, my favorite thing in Orez was just like hopping on Latios and just flying around.
True. That is
Cool.
one thing
And
that I will
then
give Omega Ruby and Alpha
rolling-
Sapphire.
The bunny hop system is pretty neat. I know it's like different, and it felt different from the original
Like
that I can remember. Anyways, I'm very sad that the gambling station was closed in the remake.
because of course they would. They closed gambling ever since Gen 4. Like European copies of Platinum do not have gambling. You're gonna do fucking slots on the casino.
You know what I would have done, honestly? I would have left the building there, but put someone out front saying that you're not allowed in because you're a child.
Oh no! What they did in Platinum is that you just find random like people leave like coins
on the machine. Oh hey, look, 5 coins, 20 coins, and then if you want something, you just have to buy the coins yourself. Which was honestly kind of cringy. But yeah, ever since Ores, the remakes have just been on a decline for me. Like, Ores was an okay remake. Like, there were a lot of things that I was like, I prefer the original on this. Honestly, maybe it's because of how I played the 3DS games, because I was like, oh hey, Wonder Trade is funny. Let me just get 3 Pokemon from Wonder Trade at a low level and use them on my team.
Maybe.
And you know, boosted experience, go bird.
I know BDSP was really bad.
Yes, BDSP is an awful remake. I hate it.
BDSP, for context, isn't even like a remake. It's literally just a reskin of the original games.
Yes, which is very much not even of the original games. It's from Platinum, but without the Platinum features. Like what?
It's also like the original bugs are still there, except now you can walk diagonally, which means you can get soft locked in the ice gym.
Yeah. How is the gym leader from that gym called in English again?
I don't know.
Point.
Sorry, Mina?
No point.
No, the gym leader.
Oh, starts with the C. Candace.
Can't these nuts fit in your mouth? Sorry.
Whack. Te pego.
I knew you were going to do it.
Yeah. Oh.
In Spanish, she's literally just called Inverno, which is like invierno, but with a couple
Yeah, the
letters
Candace
changed.
is because of ice at the end of it.
Yes. But yeah, I generally like a couple of things stood out for me from Gen 3 remakes. One of them was like the Latios flying. The nighttime theme was just stuck in my head for the longest time because it was just so soothing. I loved it.
Also, finding the Pokemon that like jiggle in the grass and not getting an Audino every time, pretty fantastic.
I mean, in Black and White, not all the routes had only Audinos for shaking grass.
It was mostly Audino, dude.
Yeah, because
the
that was
fucking. I don't know what it was, but every time Audino made its little noise in the game, all I heard was fucking. What's the word? What's the word where like you hear something or see something that's not actually there? But
A
you can
mirage?
still hear it pretty clearly. No, it's not a mirage.
Illusion?
Hallucination.
Hallucination.
No, it's not a hallucination. It's like you hear a noise and it sounds like it's saying a thing, but it's pareidolia. It's pareidolia.
I've never heard that word before.
Never heard that word before.
Let me see if I can find it.
Actually,
yeah.
speaking of,
Hmm.
Pareidolia.
the Gen 5 remakes are going to be coming soon.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, pareidolia is the tendency for perception to impose a meaningful interpretation on whenever someone sees an object, pattern, or meaning when there is none.
Huh.
So, every time Audino made its noise, I had this pareidolia effect, right? It just sounded like the word masturbate.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the time is coming for them to make the Gen 5 remakes based on their existing pattern. Probably going to be like some of the last Pokemon games they make for the Switch before they
don't
reveal the new
think
console.
so. They have only really released one remake per gen of consoles. I don't think they're gonna release a Gen 5 remake in this console.
Yes, except remember, Jimmy, Gen 5 was weird because it was the first Pokemon game that was released on the same console as the previous generation.
I mean, can we really call that Game Boy Color a different whole console than the original Game Boy?
I mean,
Not really.
not really, but you know, technically.
Not really. I don't really think about that much. Ugh.
Oh yeah, especially since Game Boy Color games would be played on the normal Game Boy just
Exactly.
without color. But
That's what I. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The point is, Gen 5 also didn't have any remakes in its generation.
Neither Gen. Oh well, fuck no. Gen 7 did, but at the same time, Gen 7's remake, first gen remake, was on the Switch and on the 3DS.
But it
Well,
did have a remake.
That
It was a weird game. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was
Let's
weird.
Go barely counts.
It's
And
like
it
a
was less of
retelling.
a remake, more of a prototype for the Gen 8 games, I feel.
And also Pokemon Go stuff in it too. Because why not?
So the main character isn't the main character in the original games. Like, I know it's different because we had Leaf in Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Let's go.
No, it's different characters because it's
Yeah, they're
either not
different
red
characters altogether.
and Blue
is a
just
very
the gym
different
leader.
character.
No, you can find them all.
No, Blue's also in the game.
And
Blue
Red
is in
too.
the game and he's a different person. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Red's-
They're different
Red showed
protagonists.
Up? I didn't realize Red showed up.
They have.
Red shows up at the end.
So fun fact, I'm pretty sure they have the manga designs for the for the three characters for Red, Blue, and Green.
I know Red and Blue show up in Sun and Moon.
Yes.
Yeah, they Battle Tree.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not really a remake because you're not playing as the same character again. It's different.
Reimagining.
It's the same story plots. Reimagining is what I think that's the word I used. But yeah. Let's see. But no, I personally count the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy as different, just because the inclusion of color. I can't explain to you how different. It's
kind
the
of
same
like
functionality, but it's a different console.
It's kind of like the DS to the DSi.
Kind of. It's more like the DS and the 3DS, in my opinion.
Or is it more like the DS and the DS Lite? No, it's not. That's
DS
just a
and
different
DS Lite are
case.
the same. Yeah,
just a
it's a
DS
different-
and DSi are different, but at the same time, when I think of the DSi, I think of like the Game Boy Color. They're basically the same.
What games are actually released for the DSi specifically?
The ones in the DSi shop.
the AR game.
True.
They had the AR cards.
No,
I
that's
know
for
that
the
Project
3DS.
Midai.
Oh wait, are we talking about
that's
the
right,
new
there was-
3DS?
I can't remember. There's so many DSs.
Because for the new 3DS, the only one that I remember is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
I don't know what the difference is between the DS and the 3DS and the new 3DS. They're just 3DS to me.
Okay.
So okay, can I explain that
I've
because I
looked it
have
up.
had both of them. So the 3DS, let's use the 3DS XL for comparison because it's easier. The new 3DSs are both bigger in size than their older counterparts. The new 3DS had interchangeable plates, so you could like customize the outside look of your 3DS. They had a better 3D function, like you wouldn't have like as many problems looking at the 3D as if you would in the old 3DSs. And also they had a nipple.
Huh?
They had
You
like
can't say that.
okay. I wanted to see your reaction. So they have like a C-stick looking fucking nipple on the bottom screen, right near the face buttons. And that would serve as a C-stick. But it was very much
difference?
very uncomfortable.
What? I don't get it. I'd need to visually see it.
Also, they have more like they also have more there were more powerful consoles as well. That's why you could run bigger. You couldn't run Xenoblade Chronicles on the regular 3DS. Well, on a new 3DS, you can.
So you count these as different consoles?
It's an upgrade. It's an upgraded version. It's when I think of the new 3DS, I think of the DSi and the Game Boy Color. They're just upgrades to the original console with extra things added, extra bips and bobs.
It's like different functionality in the games. Not really an upgrade. Because for the DSi, I could probably use that to play Project Midai since they also had the cards.
You couldn't play Guitar Hero on the DSi.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about.
Wait, hold on. I don't know.
Project Mirai is the Hatsune Miku game.
Isn't
not
that
a
from the
Guitar Hero
3DS?
game. Yes, it is on the 3DS. But I'm not sure if I could reverse it to the DSi. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've had.
No, okay, the
my
DSi
DS
and the
being
3DSi
functional.
are completely different consoles. The DSi is
Yeah,
on
I'm
of the
just saying-
original DS. The 3DS is the next generation
I can't
of consoles.
remember.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't remember. The last time I played my
is the
DS,
same gen as the normal DS.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I was very confused there. I misunderstood you completely. I am sorry. But yeah, no, the DS had the DS Lite and the DSi as upgrades, and then it transitioned to the 3DS.
So I've pulled up the Wikipedia page for the DSi, by the way. So the DSi's page has a list of Nintendo DSi exclusive game cards. Guess how long the list is?
3 games.
Mina?
5.
6.
Oh damn.
I was closer.
There is
Art Academy.
only one was released in Japan though. Actually, technically 5 is correct because there's a 6th one here. However, it was never actually released.
Oh shoot. Okay.
So 5 is technically correct. There's 1 released in Japan, 3 released in North America, 4 released in Europe, and 1 released in Australia.
Let's go. The Europeans got the bigger amount of DSi games.
However, if you do full DSiWare, like the eShop, there are 659 games.
That's a lot of games. Well, but at the same time, you have like Mario Clock and Mario Calculator.
Oh no, because that's just software which is counted separately on the DSiWare application, which is a separate thing on the Wikipedia page, of which there are an additional full set of Generation 1 Pokemon, 151.
That's funny.
But that's why you have things like Animal Crossing Calculator, Animal Crossing Clock, Aquarium with Clock.
Why did they need clocks? Like, you already had a clock functionality on your DSi. Which also, fun fact, the DSi came with a brain train. Mr. Kawasaki's.
Mario Clock, Mario Calculator.
Mr. Kawasaki's is brain training.
I don't know.
The game with the talking head.
I don't know.
They
Brain
gave
Age?
no. No, I don't think it's brain. It's like brain train, I think, or brain training, or training brain, something like that.
Maybe it's different in European, in any of the European copies. The only like brain game that I know of is Brain Age, and it was like an educational game.
Yeah, but do you remember like this? It's also like a helper in Smash Ultimate, the man that just pops up, like it's a talking like polygonal head, and just numbers start coming around.
Oh,
Hold on. Let me look it up. I'm going to look it up.
and Star Fox.
No,
That's the only floating brain I can think of.
No.
On the DS, yeah.
Dr. Kawashima's brain training.
Never heard of it.
Really? Is this only for
Just
the?
Brain Quest, Big Brain Academy, and Brain Age.
Hold on, I need to.
I do see videos for measuring my brain with Kawashima's brain training,
That's the one. That's what I'm talking about.
but that's in Brain Age too.
Well, I'm talking about brain training with Dr. Kawashima. They gave you a free
Yeah.
copy of one of the games in the DSi, at least in Europe, because both me and my sister had it. Let me show you the face of the motherfucker. Maybe
It was
that,
in this game. Not this exact game, but these
Oh,
exact.
yours was called Brain Age. Mine was called Brain Training.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying maybe it's called different in Europe, but this is what it was called.
I am dumb. Like in Spain, it was called Brain Training, because you're training your brain. Oh
Oh my god, the images are in French. Here.
It's almost like you're searching them from France.
Okay, yours is called. It's because I remember also another game called Brain Age, which was like they had like stick figurine, like sticky figgies. This is ours, by the way.
Stick figures.
Yeah, Brain Age. Hold on.
We also had Big Brain Academy.
Oh, maybe it's that one. Hold on.
Do we have its big brain time?
Yeah, that's a different.
Yeah,
brain
that's the
training.
one that I was thinking about. Okay. Oops,
Big brain time.
my bad.
Yeah, Big Brain
Oh, yeah.
Academy.
This is big brain time. But yeah, I the other day I found my grandmother's copy of Brain Training or Brain Age. Because yes, my this is something that I find really funny that the DS, like I've seen more DSs in my life than I've seen PS2s, even though the PS2 sold more than the DS.
PS2 somewhere. I just never had any games. I think the only game we had was the Simpsons game that my cousin gave me.
PS2 has no games, even though it has a lot of them. I mean,
Yeah, I think
we're looking at a
by then-
PS2 game in the screen right now.
My high school boyfriend let me play some Kingdom Hearts 2, and I never finished it. I had to give it back to him.
Has anyone been talking about darkness? King Mickey.
I want to play through Kingdom Hearts.
I have never
I haven't
played
finished
Kingdom
any of them.
Hearts.
I'm invested in it. I've never played any of them all the way to completion, but I'm invested.
The lore is so confusing.
That's the best part.
Also, I just want to say this: I have lost 0 frames in the whole entire fucking stream. So this is a problem with my internet at home because of where I am at home.
Skill issue.
I need the Ethernet working in my house, so this doesn't so this happens, so like this kind of thing happens.
Apparently, going to France is good for your stream quality.
I guess so. Well, guys, I guess I'm moving to France. No.
Just
No.
stay away from Paris.
Oh, I'm no, thank you. I'd rather go to Le Mans.
Paris is stinky.
Paris is very stinky and also pretty much on fire. There's
Paris is Burning is such a good movie.
Paris is Burning just happens like every couple months whenever the French decide to protest.
yes.
I think we're thinking about two different Paris is Burning movies.
I'm not talking about a movie.
I'm not
Talking
talking
about
about a
real life.
movie either. I'm talking about
Okay.
like modern events because Paris has been ever since the couple of like laws by Macron. Like Paris has been quite literally like set on fire because of like how many bins are set on fire.
I will say this: the French know how to fucking protest.
I mean, they were the people that made the French Revolution. They are these protesters.
But they
These-
assisted
the
the
level
United
of
States in
how
their
it's-
protest.
The level of how seriously the French take protesting. There was someone at one of the protests who'd like taken a grill and like welded it to a set of like wheels stuff, and he was running along like the tram track while grilling, like and just handing out like hot
Wait.
dogs to the other protesters.
Let's go. That's fucking clever.
Do you think there's like a specific store somewhere in France that just sells riot stuff?
I wouldn't be surprised if there was.
Honestly, there'd be a market for it. The problem is, every time there's a riot, it would just get broken into.
True.
The one store they respect.
The one store, every time there's a riot, they just have a fire sale.
Yeah.
They advertise it by setting something out on fire out front.
They
They've just got like a big oil drum that they set on fire.
fucking
Hell yeah.
pitchforks and torches.
Yes.
But no,
And
the French
also-
are so good at protesting. They had the French Revolution. They assisted the Americans with their revolution.
Yes.
What else did they do?
No, Mina. They assisted the Americans with their revolution just because it would upset the British.
Because I'm
I think
upsetting
all
the
of
British
France
is
is
funny.
built of Sprite.
It's the British and the French. If there's one thing you can get them to do, if you want them to help you with something, just say it will piss off the other.
And they'll fucking do it.
Like France and Britain get along okay in the modern day, but that's more just because in like the last 100 years they've been on the same side of most arguments.
True.
More just because they hate the other guy more. But if like honestly, I'm convinced if they weren't both in NATO, they'd have gone to war at some point in the last 100 years.
Yeah. Fucking Ireland would definitely have an ally and gotten free quite a bit long.
Ireland's best friend is France, just because they bond over hating the British.
Yup.
Well, actually, to be more specific, Ireland's also friends with Scotland because they get together over hating the English. And that's really
The
who the
Welsh
French
bit
don't
in
like is
this.
the English. The French don't care too much about the Scottish, it's just the English. Stupid beans on toast people.
Listen, I don't mind the beans on toast. It's just how underflavored their beans look. Because, like, I'm Hispanic. I eat frijoles.
Nosotros
are good,
tomamos
but, like-
alubias.
Alright, so if you want to round us off, because we've been gone for 2 hours now,
Yes.
I found a post talking about some weird history things that are just like timeline things, basically. Things that like you're like that doesn't sound right because you just don't associate those things being at like the same time.
But they are.
So to start us off, Spain was still a fascist dictatorship when Microsoft was founded.
So it was before 1975. Got it.
When Harvard University was founded, there was no calculus class because calculus had not been invented yet.
What is calculus exactly?
It's
kind
a
of
type
math.
of math.
Ah. Sorry, I only like really think of calculus as something American. I don't know why.
I think it was discovered by a French guy. Remember, it was discovered or invented like during like the Black Plague because he was like just isolating. He had nothing better to do, so he invented calculus.
Let's go.
You should have been taken by the plague.
Yes. Two empires, Roman and Ottoman, spanned the entire distance between Jesus and Babe Ruth.
I'm sorry, what?
In the distance of time.
In the Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire combined
Yes.
cover the entire distance between Jesus Christ and Babe Ruth.
Who is the
Babe
last
Ruth
person?
Babe Ruth is a very famous American baseball player.
Ah. Well,
From
baseball, America.
actually, baseball per capita is more popular in Japan.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's why Wii Sports has
Oh.
baseball.
Here's another way to put it. Babe Ruth's career in Major League Baseball started in 1914. The pyramids of Egypt were being built while the woolly mammoth had yet to go extinct.
My favorite fact. I love that. It makes me sad that woolly mammoth isn't a thing anymore, and it makes me sadder still that now we're just mass producing their meat in a lab for people to eat.
The last use of the guillotine in France was the same year the original Star Wars was released.
Good for them.
Oh,
Oxford University, it's back. No, this is Oxford, not Harvard, never. Oxford University was over 300 years old when the Aztec Empire was founded.
I'm sorry, what?
Oxford
I just found
University-
something on Twitter that kind of blows my mind.
Oh no, Twitter.
Based on official information, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl sold more over than Yellow, Fire Red and Leaf Green, Crystal, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Platinum, Black to White 2, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Legend Arceus, and outsold Pokemon Emerald 2. What? It's like, bruh.
Makes sense to me. People used to say that Gen 4 was like one of the better games, right? And as
Platinum.
remake more more accessible on the Switch. and lots of people are excited for that, both new and younger players.
Me, hi. I was very excited for that remake, and then it turned out to be an absolute disappointment.
I'll buy the remakes if I think they're fun enough, or if they're gifted to me. But other than that, remakes aren't my thing.
Like, okay,
It's like if I miss the gen, I'll do it, like I did with Heart Gold and Horus.
sometimes it's also like easier to access remakes than the original games. I mean, not now, because you can access the original Gen 1 and Gen 2 easier. Well, not anymore, never mind. I was about to say thanks to the 3DS eShop, but that's closed. That closed like 4 months ago. Jesus Christ, that closed 4 months ago or so. Good heavens. But yeah, you can really just probably find a cheaper copy of Silver, Gold, and Crystal than Hard Gold and Soul Silver. Those copies go for like $100. I have no idea why. But yeah.
Timon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Sky, for well over $100, which is way more than what my parents paid for it on Christmas Day.
I got a copy of Explorers of Time for free and Explorers of Darkness for free. It's called Having Friends That Don't Want Games Anymore and They Give Them to You. I also got an extra copy of Pokemon Platinum, even though that game is sold for $60 on second hand, which is absolutely mind fucking blowing. Like, Jesus. Okay, since I see everyone else is very quiet, that means that we have ran out of things to talk, which means that it's a good time to end the stream. Thank you everyone for watching. I have no idea if I will stream tomorrow. We'll have to see. We're going to go raid Octo because he is currently streaming. He's playing the Blood That Melts, which is pretty cool. I think Meep's internet died again, but you know what? Let's just go raid the boy Octo. Thank you, you two, for as per usual for coming by. I think I'll probably join his VC after this. But yeah, if I stream tomorrow, I'll probably go and also. Oh Jesus, 4 viewers. Okay, I was expecting like 0 because there was no one talking in chat. It was kind of quiet in chat. But yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow. I don't know. We'll have to see that. But yeah, it depends on how the plans go with the family. As per usual, we'll bring more Roomba thought on next Sunday, hopefully. But yeah, and hopefully, you know, things are working okay. So yeah, I will see you all next time. Bye bye. Alright, and off we go.